MoGameCon 2018. I got some pickups too. Let's talk. Hey guys, Chris here, and I have some stuff to talk about today. And first thing I wanted to mention is a convention I went to this last weekend. And I live in the St. Louis area, and we don't get a lot of conventions here. So the few events we do get, we're pretty happy about. And this last week, we went to, my girlfriend wasn't able to go, but I went to MoGameCon, and it was a pretty cool little convention. I wouldn't say it was great, but I was definitely pretty happy to go. It's kind of a small event. Well, small to medium size, I guess. The vendor hall was bigger than I expected. But yeah, it was pretty cool. They had a few things going on. It was mostly about the vendor hall, but they had a cosplay contest, and they had, well, actually, it's kind of neat. They had the whole crew from the Metal Jesus YouTube channel, and so yeah, you know, I think at one point I walked right past Reggie, which is kind of neat, I guess. But outside of that, they had a small kind of arcade with a bunch of full-size arcade games set up on free play. And I was glad I went. You know, yeah, I didn't buy a lot. While the vendor hall was a lot bigger than I expected, I have to say I was a little bit disappointed with the prices. And you know, I think that just kind of goes with the territory now. You know, I guess these vendors feel that why sell, you know, their goods at a discount at a convention when they could just plop it on eBay for full value. But then again, they're skipping the eBay fees and shipping hassle, and of course also the eBay risk of getting stuff either sent back or refunded without their consent. But you know, it's their stuff and they can price it whatever they want. But I don't know, I think an Intellivision system by itself with a couple controllers and hookups isn't worth $120. But you know, that's just me. Anyway, I did pick up one thing, and I show that here in a second. And I did enjoy browsing through the aisles. There was a lot of stuff to look at. They had a little game museum at the back where they had some cool stuff set up. And yeah, I had fun. I mean, like I said, I didn't buy a lot, but it's fun just being around that much product, old, vintage games and systems. You know, it's cool being around all the people talking about vintage games, and it's just kind of an enjoyable vibe. And I just love going to conventions. My favorite one is MGC, which I go to. I've gone to the last 3 years. So, you know, overall, MoGameCon, if you have a chance to check it out next year, I highly suggest it. And you know, it was a fun time for me. I wish I had some pictures to show, but I don't. I'll look online and see if I can find some stuff to flash up here. Otherwise, maybe I'll put some links, you know, down below. You know, there were some guys who were videotaping, and they had some real equipment, not this ghetto setup I've got. So if I find anything, I'll post that. And otherwise, yeah, MoGameCon, good job. Looking forward to going next year. Now, the one game I did pick up, let's grab it. I found this, and this is a really old game, actually, early 80s arcade-style space game. This was published by Avalon Hill. I've got a couple different games in this sort of. This, it had some paperwork, manual, and a registration card. Maybe I should send that in. Get some support. It's a cassette game, which is kind of hard to use, but I think this will be fun. This particular game comes with versions for the Atari 8-bit, the Apple II, and a couple Tandy computers. The model, was it the TRS-80 Model 1 and 3? Yeah, 1 and 3, and a TRS-80 color, so the color computer. So this will work on a Coco. I have all those computers except for the Model 1 and 3. So, you know, maybe I'll do a video of this game. Anyway, I was pretty happy to get this, and you just don't see these old games very often. And cool. It was $10, by the way, which I thought was fair. You know, I wouldn't call that a deal by any means, but it would have cost more on eBay once you factor shipping in. So anyway, that was it for my pickups at the MoGameCon. But luckily, so I left the convention, and I got to tell you, I was a little disappointed. I mean, I rolled in there with a couple $100, actually $250, and I was ready to spend it all. I was hoping to find a new system, but their system prices were just outrageous. So after the convention, I was really jonesing for some more shopping, and so the first thing I did was I dropped by a Goodwill, and this Goodwill is literally a mile from where the convention was, maybe a mile and a half. So I had low hopes of finding anything at this Goodwill, because I figured, you know, all the convention goers are probably local. They know about that Goodwill, and they figured they would have stopped by too. But luckily, it turned out pretty good. I guess people were focused more on going to the convention than thrifting, and I was able to find stuff. So I was able to find some stuff. The first thing that caught my eye at the store was this. Oh, here we go. It's a Thrustmaster Ferrari 458 Italia wheel. It's for the Xbox 360, and I got to be honest with you, I'm a little hesitant to pick up steering wheels like this. They come in all shades of quality, and Thrustmaster, let's be honest, isn't known for it doesn't have a long history of high-end peripherals. But I did some research on this before I went to the checkout, and it seems to be a pretty good wheel. Let me show it to you. So, there we go. It is in a really beautiful condition. It's like new. A little dusty, but it doesn't look like it's hardly been used. So I feel like this was a good find. And I don't have a whole lot of peripherals for the Xbox 360 and only a few games. I just recently picked up that particular console about a month or two ago. And so, yeah, I was really happy to get this. The pedals are of dubious quality. They're better than many, but not the best by any means. But they feel okay, but the wheel feels really nice. So I am looking forward to checking that out. Past the steering wheel, I found some games also. And I don't know about you, but finding decent games at thrift stores is getting harder and harder these days. So anytime I do find some, it's a good day. Let me grab these. Okay. So here are the games I found. You can see I got a nice little stack. Start off with, let's go backwards in time. PlayStation 3. This was Assassin's Creed 3. Not super familiar with the Assassin's Creed series, and I'm a little worried that this game has an activation code. It has one there. So, but I'm sure it's used, so it doesn't matter. It's for multiplayer. I'm sure this still works fine for single player, but this was $2. So for PS2, Corvette. Not a game I was really looking for, but anytime I find a racing game that I don't have, I pick it up. This one is also complete, and the disc is in good condition, so it'd be fun to check that out. It was $3. It's pretty cool. I love the Need for Speed series. This is Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. Yeah, Hot Pursuit 2. This is for the GameCube. I don't see a whole lot of GameCube games anymore, especially interesting GameCube games. Everything is, I don't know, some sort of casual game or kids game. So I was happy to get this. This did not come in this particular package. It came in it's kind of a plain case. As a matter of fact, I think this is the very case it came in. So I just printed off. I printed off a cover so it at least looked good. But the disc itself is in really good shape. And also, I found Kart World Series for the PS1. Hardly ever find PS1 games anymore, which is sad. So I really like. Whenever I find them, I pick them up. Not a game I'm familiar with, but I will be looking forward to checking that out. It was $3 also, and it was complete. Disc is in good shape. Cool. And finally, at that particular Goodwill, this is probably the best find, Crash Bandicoot for the PS1. Unfortunately, this game did not come with art and in a case. I printed this up just so it would look good. It came in a case, the exact same type of case that the Need for Speed game came in. But the game itself is really nice. It's in really nice condition. And I thought my little home job artwork looks pretty good. So again, really happy to get that. I did not have Crash Bandicoot for the PS1. Looking forward to playing it. Okay, so that's all the console games I got from there, but I got some PC games as well. And you know, I'm not in love with picking up PC games in jewel cases, but if I find games that are interesting, I'll pick them up. It's just that at Goodwill, they charge $3 for these, and I just feel like that's high for a random PC games that aren't boxed. But these are what I got. First off, Roller Coaster Tycoon. This is an expansion to the first game, Loopy Landscapes. I'm not sure. I might have this already, but I wasn't sure. I know I have the base game, so you know, it's worth a shot. Also got Pitfall, The Mine Adventure. This is an interesting pickup. You know, it's a late 90s. I believe it's a late 90s platformer. Not 100% sure. There were several of these Pitfall games produced around that time zone. Anyway, last one I got. Okay, Arcade Classics, Williams Arcade Classics. This has several classic arcade games. So if you're a fan of classic arcades like me, and you find these, you're always going to pick them up. So this has Defender 2, Joust, Robotron, Sinistar, and a Bubbles. And it's got this cool red insert. So I was happy to get those. Those were $3 each for these. And not a super good deal, but happy to get them. I don't feel ripped off by any stretch. So that was it for that Goodwill. And considering how disappointed I was after I left the con, I was feeling pretty good after this particular stop. I got some stuff I was happy to get and looking forward to checking out. And I don't feel like I paid too much for either. But I didn't stop there, because on this particular Saturday, the local Savers had a 50% off sale going. And so I dropped by a few Savers as well. And this is what I got. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. Let's start off. So for the Xbox 360, Two Towers 2. This was complete. And regular price $5.99. I paid $3. I was pretty happy with that. It's a game I'm not familiar with, so I think I'm going to enjoy checking that out. Here we go. Lord of the Rings, Return of the King for the original Xbox. Don't find too many original Xbox games anymore. And it's one of my favorite systems to collect for. Complete. This one was $1. Regular price to $1.99. happy about that. Here's a game I normally wouldn't buy. It's a wrestling game. What is it? WCW NWO Thunder. But it was $1, so I don't have it. It's complete. Disc looks good. I consider that a good buy. And finally, from Savers, and like I said, I went to several. I went to 2 Savers, and these are the games I found. Snowcross 2 for the PS2. Another one of my favorite consoles to collect for, and this was $1. This game is sealed, never used. So I don't know, good for $1. That was it for Saturday. You know, considering how much I struck out at the convention, I felt like I had a good, you know, strong ending to the day. But I also went thrifting on Monday, and this was kind of cool. Me and my girlfriend went out and just hit a few more thrift stores. The first thing we did, we hit what did we do? We hit another Savers, and yeah, I'll go ahead and show you the Savers stuff. So we hit another Savers. Now it wasn't 50% off, and I had already been to the Savers that Saturday before. So these finds weren't there on Saturday. First thing I saw is this little guy, and I love picking these up. I collect vintage handhelds. Now this isn't a vintage, you know, or at least it's not the 80s vintage. This is Mattel basketball. This is one of the remakes from the early 2000s. I think they actually still produce this, but they've been making it for about a decade now. I don't have one of these, either an old one or a new one, and this was like $4. Yeah, I was happy to get that. We'll add it. It's probably going to be a trophy, a shelf sitter, but cool. Also, let me see, got this. DJ Hero 2 for the Wii. This game is sealed. I got this for $6.99. Yeah, I was happy to get this. I'm not a huge collector of the Wii. It's one of my least favorite consoles. But, you know, if I find something interesting at a good price, I'll pick it up. And, you know, Wii's got some good games on it. It's just, yeah, I prefer, you know, other consoles. I got PS3. That's my console of choice of that generation. Yeah, happy to get this, especially since it's sealed. What else? Okay, don't see too many Atari 2600 anything. And while it's not a game, this is an Atari 2600 cartridge holder. It came with a free pin. Yeah, I use these to store my Atari 2600 collection. I get that out of there. There we go. Free pin. This was $3. So whenever I find these, I always pick them up. Usually I don't find these at thrift stores anymore, but sometimes I see them at conventions. I probably have about 10 of these. So nice to pick up another one for a good price. What else? What else from Savers? Oh yeah, the best thing I got. This is probably the best find of the weekend, actually. Look at that. So I got somebody's complete Game Boy collection. Not a big collection, but I mean, if this is the way you like to find stuff, in a carrying case, and it's all packed together at one price. So first off, I got a Game Boy Color. This is in really, really nice condition. The battery compartment, I don't know if you can see that. It looks perfect. Happy to get this. I don't have this particular model of the Game Boy. I'm not a big fan of the color, but whatever. Happy to get that. Also in the box was a link cable, a light, which is interesting. This little button thing. Been looking for one of these. A Game Boy camera. Now I just need to get the printer. Game Boy camera. And it came with 5 games. So, let's see here. We got Harry Potter, Godzilla, Donkey Kong Country, definitely my favorite game in this batch, but not the most valuable one, I don't think. Pokemon Blue, not a big Pokemon fan personally. Kind of the Pokemon fad hit after I was, in college, so it's never in my bag, but cool getting the game. And here we go, Pokemon Crystal. Those last 3 games are worth some money, at least 20 bucks each. And I got the whole thing for $25.99. And on top of that, I had 20% off. So this whole batch with the 5 games and the Game Boy and the peripherals is 20 bucks. So the best deal of the weekend by far. By far. And of course that 20% off was also on the other things I got, like the little handheld and the Atari cartridge holder. So those were 20% off whatever price I mentioned. That was definitely the highlight of my weekend, but it's not where I stopped. After Savers, I stopped by another Goodwill, and I found this little Gravis game controller. Now, this is an old one, from the 80s, probably mid 80s even. I've been looking for one of these. I've got several IBM computers, and I've wanted a sort of a controller from the same time period. So I was happy to get this. It was $3. And also I got another PC game in a jewel case, Stunt Track Driver 2. It's probably not my favorite gaming series, but I don't know, it's neat. It was complete. It was half off, so it was priced at $3. I got it for $1.50. So yeah, I'm happy I got it. After that Goodwill, we went to another Goodwill, and I picked up another. Isn't that weird? You find when it rains, it pours. I guess another old joypad. Both of these had DB15 control connectors, and this is just a gamepad. So just kind of a generic controller, but yeah, I was happy to get it. It's in the box too. I probably wouldn't have bought it if it wasn't in the box. So, especially after I picked up the Gravis controller. What else? That was the last of the Goodwills. Oh, okay. I'll get to that last. We did hit another thrift store on Monday, and I got a few games there. I got some boxed PC games. They had a bunch of boxed PC games at this place, but they were $3 each, and they were not games I was interested in. And these small box games are my least favorite of the box games, but at least it's boxed, I guess. But it adds up. You buy 5 of them, it's $15. They had, I think, 8 or 9. That adds up after a while. So I picked out the best, at least my opinion as far as what was the best. I got Railroad Tycoon 3 in this little tiny box. Worst kind of box to collect for. But that's an interesting game that I would like to try. Frontline. Is it Frontlines? Frontlines, Fuel of War. This is a franchise I'm not familiar with at all. We'll check it out. And then Medieval 2, Total War. So happy about that. And finally, at this particular thrift store, now this wasn't a super good deal. I would say I paid the going rate for this little setup. But anyway, here it is. I got a DS Lite Mario Brothers version, I guess. And I've got several DS Lites. I don't have any of the themed versions, but this thing is in a really, really good condition. Works. It had a charge when we were there playing with it. Even has the its original stylus. But it also came with some weird cooking game, or cooking. It's not really a game. And new Super Mario Brothers, which is this is a game I don't have and I've been looking for. Whole set. I don't know if you can see that. $50, and that's what we paid. We didn't get any discount on it. You know, not a good deal by any stretch, but I stressed over buying it because, like I said, I usually get deals, but sometimes, you know, sometimes you got to pay the piper, and this particular thrift store goes to a good cause, so yeah, whatever. And this is in such good condition, so I don't feel bad. Anyway, that's that. That was the last of the gaming finds of the weekend, but I did have one more purchase. And I found this on Saturday. It was my last stop. They didn't have any, I guess this is sort of gaming related, but I got this right here. This is an HP Envy. Does it have any? Just HP Envy. This is a pretty modern computer. Really rare to find at any Goodwill or thrift store type place. It has a Pentium i5 in it. Does it have a? Yeah, 3470. It has 12 gigabytes of RAM, and it has an NVIDIA, you know, middle range graphics card. This was $9, and this I really need this because I've been doing a lot of CD burning lately. I want to get copies of my CDs so I can play in my car, and so I don't like kind of getting my main computer kind of bogged down in burning CDs. So this is something I've been really after, and for $9, I cannot beat it. It works great. I've already got a new installation of Windows put on it. Cool. Okay, that is it. I think that's about 30 minutes of talking. That's probably enough. So, I don't know how to do. I thought I had a great weekend, even though it started off kind of iffy. Like the convention itself, I was pretty happy with going to, but the vendor hall was kind of good and bad. like I enjoyed visiting vendor hall, and I enjoyed being in that atmosphere, but I was just disappointed with the lack of purchases on my part. Okay, that is it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope it wasn't too boring, but when you're excited about getting stuff, you just want to gush a little bit. But I'm pretty happy with these pickups. Tell me how'd I do? Maybe I didn't do as good as I think, but anyway, there's nothing you can say to diminish my enthusiasm. I was pretty happy with this weekend. I've had some bad luck lately, so it is nice to have some good pickups. Anyway, I guess that's it. Take care, and I'm out of here.